2025 Audi S3, it has been updated. We got more power, better performance, better torque vectoring, all new technology. Is it a better vehicle than the Acura Integra Type S? Today we'll find out. Lifting this Python yellow hood, we have a gorgeous engine presentation, a little bit black plasticky, but you know what? I like that they give us some contrast with the red accents. 2-liter turbocharged, direct injected. It has an additional 22 horsepower versus last year, so we now have about 328 horsepower. All-wheel drive is even standard on the base A3 models now. The S3 obviously getting a lot more torque and power. The hood liner here will also reduce some engine noise, which is quite great. One massive hood strut here, 328 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. Made it to the 7-speed S-tronic dual clutch transmission. We have new torque vectoring with 2 clutch packs in the back, kind of derived from the RS3, which is setting records over in Nürburgring. Let's go and close this down. You know, Audi says 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. I really wanted to test it today, but you can see it's a bit dreary and it's starting to rain. So we'll test it in some wet conditions, but I'm not expecting it to beat the 4.4. Just depends on how dry the roads can be when we're out driving. All right, so new for 2025. Slightly different styling up front. We have 4 different lighting settings for those daytime running lights. However, I can't get it to switch off of level 1 right now. This is the first setting. I had level 4 set. It's been difficult to switch the daytime running lights, and the car cannot be on either when you switch them, so it won't let you switch them while you're driving, for example. All right, we got the blacked out Audi logo, and it's a pretty nice looking front end. Would you guys agree, or do you think it's too much black cladding on the vehicle? Coming around to the side, we do have an optional blacked out roof here. I believe the glass roof is also standard for the S3. The S3 is lowered, I want to say around 22 millimeters versus base A3. Obviously we have the sedan variant here. It's absolutely gorgeous. I've gotten so many compliments, and I love this yellow paint color, the Python yellow. We have 19-inch wheels here. Standard are 18-inch wheels. You're gonna have to pay for an additional, it's around $1,600 to get these 19-inch wheels. We have 2 piston calipers up front. However, the brakes have been enlarged for 2025. I like the black accent, you know, side skirt garnish, black window surrounds. Just absolutely stunning sedan here. Blacked out Audi logo, S3 badge back here, blacked out quad tip exhaust with a diffuser. Looks fantastic. Now, some people will complain about the trunk space in here, and I have been finishing my moving from the previous house today and yesterday, so there is some leftover stuff from my move, and you can fold the seats down 60-40. So let's go and close this trunk lid. It is not automated, but I don't think many people will care too much. All right, I have taken my kids in here, and they have made a mess already, which is no surprise. They got stickers from Publix, and they ripped them up. I didn't realize that before recording this, but that's just life. We have these leather seats in here, which is also optional with this gray stitching. You can get it with red stitching as well, but you can get the synthetic leather and save a penny or two if you want. Folding this down, a couple cup holders, nothing too special there. And this seat is set up for me at 6'1", and you guys, it's just very, very tight back here. Huge drivetrain hump to send power to the rear wheels, of course. 2 USB-Cs, I like that. We have tiny little vents back here, gets the job done. Mat pockets on each side of the seats, and nice leather backed seats here. And you can see from the sunroof to back here, there's a little dome cutout for better headroom. My head's still touching with the hat, so it's not good for tall people back here. But I think most people who are buying an S3, this is an occasional back seat. Rarely are you going to be putting kids back here. It might be able to fit a rear-facing car seat, but I think most people who are buying an S3 are not going to have little kids, especially in rear-facing seats. It's just not the best vehicle for it. All right, but we do have nice, well, actually hard touch up here, and it is nice felt lined here with a softer armrest with that gray stitching. Sonos sound system. It's the first time I've seen Sonos in any vehicle before. This is my first time testing it. I have seen it, of course, with the home media end of things. Nice perforated leather here, better materials up top. We do have ambient lighting on the door. It's on the dash, it goes across. That has been updated for 2025. Again, here are the nice S leather seats, thigh extension. I'm a big fan of that. Let's go ahead and close the door. S skid plate. heavy door. Sonos again on the A-pillars. It has really good bass. It doesn't get all that loud. I have to actually tone down the treble because it seemed to be over trebled and a bit like too screechy for my ears, the Sonos sound system. We have the optional head-up display here. I appreciate it quite a bit. We also have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Let's go and fire the car on. All right, we have I believe it's a standard as a 10-inch screen back here. And this is just one screen throughout the whole lineup of the Audi S3. It's a 10-inch screen. I'm a big fan of the climate control. Do you know how many Audis I've been in that have the 2 screens? And it's just really frustrating to work with. Well, we have so many physical buttons in here that I am like celebrating. All right, I love the digital readout here. Fan control, actually, sorry, fan controls here. And then this is on or off for your AC. It's just super easy. You can just put auto, you can sync it. However, I did have a situation sometime this week where sync was on, but these were actually different. Some sort of bug, but I haven't been able to replicate it. I only have heated seats in here. I do not have ventilated seats, so that's a miss here in the Audi S3. These seats are not perforated, so I guess if you sit this thing in the sun, while these seats are fantastic, the bolstering's amazing, I suspect that they'd get pretty sticky. We also have physical drive select. There have been Audi models that I've been in that don't have a drive select button or toggle. It's like a touch capacitive thing. So I like this. Also new for 2025 is a dynamic plus mode, which ramps up the torque vectoring. Audi also gives you the option of a individual mode. I keep it on auto most of the time. However, we'll talk about the pros and cons of this auto setup when we start driving. We have a shortcut button here to driver assistant technology, what you want on, what you want off, so I really appreciate that shortcut. 360 camera, I believe, is optional on here. This one's already optioned to about 59K if I remember correctly, so tack on a little bit more for a 360 camera. But you can defeat the auto off if you don't like that with that additional toggle down here. Turn off traction control, USB-C's, wireless charger, start stop engine button, and then this is your volume. It's a toggle, and I don't like that it's like a twisty toggle. I prefer it to have a real volume knob with a seek. You know, Mazda has a volume knob with you press it to the right. I just wish this had a real volume knob. Yes, I have it on the steering wheel, and I use this more often than this gimmicky thing down here. Glossy black looks kind of cheap, honestly. This doesn't look that premium. Nor does the new really redesigned shifter, shift by wire toggle. I mean, this just takes up so much room. Think about how much they could consolidate this if they, you know, had a column shifter or something. I don't know. It just doesn't look that premium. I'd prefer a traditional shifter. If you're going to use all this space and not fill it with anything else, give me a traditional shifter. Electronic parking brake, 12-volt accessory power, a couple cup holders, a nice Audi cloth here. We have chrome on the vents. They haven't blinded me this week. Maybe it's because it's a bit hooded here. And I like the Quattro all-wheel drive badge, this faux carbon fiber. Maybe it's real carbon fiber. Honestly, I can't tell. It feels pretty plasticky. And then I like how this is matted out. We don't have glossy black there to blind me. Most of that's located down here. Steering wheel is pretty basic, but I believe it has been refreshed for 2025. Paddle shifters are rode through the 7-speed DSG, or I guess the S-tronic transmission here. You can scroll through the information page here. I like it on fuel economy. By the way, I've been getting about 25 miles per gallon this week driving it. And I like the digital compass here. That's quite nice. Again, there's our big glass roof, and let's start driving the Audi S3, which has been updated for 2025. Let's go ahead and put it into dynamic plus, and we're going to do a little torque brake. It goes about 4,000 RPM. Jeez, that shift. There's 60. Okay, let's slow it down. Guys, in wet conditions, this is the sort of power that Audi's, Quattro, I almost called e-tronic, Audi's Quattro all-wheel drive gives you. In wet conditions, with these summer tires on these 19-inch wheels, we got 0 to 60 in 4.67 seconds. That is just ridiculous. You know, compared to its closest rival, the Integra Type S, it's just not possible, really, to, in my experience, it's just not possible to break 5 seconds on that car with the manual. You know, around the track, they're probably going to be fairly competitive. It depends on the skill of the driver, of course, with a manual, but like still 4.7 essentially in wet conditions. All right, so well done, Audi, with the performance of this vehicle in its class. Let's go ahead and put this in auto mode. And we do have adaptive dampers in here. It softens the suspension. The girls, when I put them in the back, they're like, Dad, this car's too firm, too bumpy. I put it into comfort mode and they're like, oh, that's much better. So you have, you know, if you're a lady or whatever, the kids you're driving in don't like the firmness of this ride, it is going to be on the firmer and even in comfort, but at least you have that option with the adaptive dampers to dial it back. But in everyday driving, you know, even in auto mode, it's pretty compliant. It's really pretty docile, to be honest, in auto mode. The shifts are a little bit slower, and we might do another 0 to 60 here. Let's go ahead and put it in dynamic mode because the conditions are drier out here. So we're just gonna wait for this Hemi Charger to pass. That first to second shift is very aggressive. So 4.81. I did better when the road conditions were wet, so I don't really understand what's happening there. Essentially, that was about 1/10 slower. But you know, maybe a different mode might be faster, but yeah, 4.4 is pretty aggressive. But the strength of this vehicle is, yes, the all-wheel drive's great. The straight line acceleration is pretty good. I enjoyed this car for other reasons other than acceleration. It's so light in its handling. When you throw it in the turn, it doesn't feel like much, and you have so much. Well, I shouldn't say that. It doesn't feel like it weighs that much, but you have plenty of feedback from the steering wheel. Of course, the steering wheel gets stiffer in dynamic plus mode. Let's just get into the brakes real quick to give you an idea of how this thing stops. I'll get into the brakes late here. Oh my gosh, yeah. A+ brakes. I know on paper, yes, they have made the brake calipers bigger, but on paper, like, yeah, it's not that impressive. It's just 2 piston calipers up front, but the brakes are fantastic. The brake feels great, linear, powerful, smooth, no fade. I really enjoy the brakes here. All right, let's play with the paddle shifters. This is one of the best things about this S-Tronic. The paddle shifters are so fast, the exhaust sounds good. And then you can bang it off the red limiter and hear the exhaust pop. It's not as raucous as I'd like it to be, but it does sound good for a 4-cylinder. The exhaust is pretty rewarding here. And I want to say that something about the Integra Type S is that the exhaust was pretty disappointing. Here on this Audi S4, the exhaust note, the character here, it's a more fun powertrain, or should I say a more peppy powertrain. The manual on like a Type S is still more fun, more engaging to me, but you know, for a daily driver, this vehicle would be so much fun to play with and to have on a daily basis. And the drive select button, it seems to be responsive half the time. I hear it click, but it doesn't always come up with the menu here, unfortunately. All right, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna go. See, I just pressed it again and it didn't come up. So that's a bit disappointing because with the drive select button, you want it to be responsive every single time. All right, let's do some manual downshifts. I'm gonna throw it in the turn here. Oh my gosh. Oh, just absolutely fantastic. Just puts down the power, no problem. The cornering's so predictable, and I feel like this is so similar to Acura's all-wheel drive system, but it might actually be superior. And the reason is we can send 50% of the available torque to the rear, but 100% to the outside wheel. You also have torque vectoring through the brake system to assist the dual clutch packs in the back. So it's just such a rewarding and fun to drive, and just easy to throw down the power on this vehicle. It is fantastic. Hello people, hello new neighbors. I just moved out here. I'm comfortable in here. My legs feel a little bit too big for the cabin, to be honest, but I'm comfortable, and I have the headroom, at least in the driver's seat, where this is a driver's focused car. This is an amazing vehicle, but it is expensive, and the lack of like auto brake hold in here drives me crazy, and the lack of ventilated seats is kind of a miss for the price point. So let's head into the office and talk about where this vehicle is priced at in my area, and how it compares to other vehicles I've also reviewed here in 2025. The Integra Type S I haven't reviewed this year, but I do talk about it and which vehicle I prefer over the two. Looking at the new Audi S3, are there any deals to be had? Well, you can find a leftover one, at least in my area, for about 10 grand off, but that is a 24 model without the horsepower performance upgrades. So 57K seems to be the mono spec. Everything is spec'd like in white or black, maybe a little blue, but pretty boring colors overall. No reds in there. All for 57K. Again, those are built off the medium grade, the premium plus grade. All right, so about 57K we're seeing for this Audi S3. If we look at the Integra Type S, we're seeing discounts, all right? About a grand, a little bit more than a grand. About 53K is what we're seeing for the Integra Type S 6-speed manual. So where does it fall in the spreadsheet in terms of vehicles I've driven this year? Ooh, I mean, I guess I could put performance as well. Category, if it was just an A3, we could probably just put a sedan, but is it S tier? And the answer is, I don't think so. It is a fantastic vehicle. S tier, if it had a manual, I think it would push into S tier for me. Yes, the 7-speed S-tronic dual clutch is very, very fast. It is fun. The all-wheel drive is incredible in this vehicle. Handles so well. I think it's right at the top of A tier. S tier, you know, it is a lot of money, and I'd still rather have an Integra Type S over this. I think it would hold its value long-term better. Which one looks better just depends on what day you catch me in, but I do kind of look like it's understyled or, you know, unassuming looks. The S3, I mean, that's kind of Audi's calling card. It's very clean, simple, at least body lines. The front ends are a bit busy, but I think the S3 looks amazing. So we're going to put it at the top. Does it beat out the SQ7? That's just a totally different vehicle. So it is an A category, absolutely. Let me know if you agree with this. Do you think the S3 is S tier? I mean, ironically, it's not, but it is a small vehicle, and I understand, you know, fitting my kids in it was tough. It was doable, but it was not the easiest. And I know I'd have an easier opportunity to do that with the kids in Integra Type S, for example. All right, so S3, fantastic vehicle. Audi made really nice updates to it for 2025. And yeah, hopefully I get a chance to drive the incredible RS3 as well. I'd probably make it into S tier, but you know, the price goes up as well. All right, I would like to really review the A3 to see just how good it is. Standard all-wheel drive, you know, turbocharged performance. I would be picking the A3 absolutely over an Integra with the CVT. Like, that's not even... The Integra, the CVT is a joke still to me. I'd rather have a Mazda, you know, Mazda 3 turbo all-wheel drive. But the manual, I wish this had a manual option, but it doesn't. And that's okay, because the 7-speed here is fantastic. All right, I'll see you guys in the comments. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more updates here on the channel. Peace.